Excuse me, sir. Get away. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am very glad to be back, as Archie is too. You want to say hey, since you've been up in the camera this whole time. But I will definitely be explaining where I've been, why it took me so long to get back on here, and yeah, so let me dive into that if these psychopaths will calm down. Okay. Alright, well, I started filming and then my battery started dying, so here we are, like 3 hours later. Dogs are finally settled in, so we're gonna roll with it. So, here we go. When I left off, I was like 3 videos in. I had another video that I was making, but wasn't too crazy about it, and at that point, me and Sean were kind of in the spot in our relationship where we were definitely planning on getting married, but we were talking about finances and what that would look like, what our future was going to look like, and what we would need to do career-wise to get us to a slightly more stable place to be able to move forward in the whole relationship, marriage-wise, buying a house, and all that kind of stuff. Not that we wouldn't have been able to get married if we weren't financially stable, but you know, you kind of need a house to live in. At that point, we were both living with my parents because he lived an hour away, and we found a better job opportunity closer to us. So at this point, we started diving really deep into our careers. He went into law enforcement, which was his plan, and I went deeper into personal training. I got a different job. I got a new job that definitely took up a lot of my time. It was a big pay raise. It was great. We were both very much more stable. And then after all of that, that's pretty much kind of where YouTube ended for me for a little bit, because when you get into a new job and you're really trying to do great at it, those other things kind of fall in the background a little bit. They definitely suffer. So I didn't have a whole lot of time. And then after we got settled into our new jobs, he decided to propose. So we got engaged on our 1-year anniversary and got married about 6 or 7 months after that. So we got engaged October 31st, and then that was 2021, October 21st, 2021, and then we got married in April of 2022. I wouldn't say it was like super quick engagement, but definitely very much shorter than others. I know people who've been engaged for years, and that's totally fine, but we were ready to be married. We were ready to settle down. And so that's what we did. Because the housing market was the way it was at the time, we decided to rent. So we rented an apartment for about 4 months, and then after that we decided it would be best to move out and live with my parents again so we could save up money since the housing market was coming back down. We knew that we wanted to put all of our extra money aside to have a bigger down payment on the house. So we moved back in with my parents. A lot of moving back and forth. Sean regrets it. I regret the moving, but I don't regret having the privacy to ourselves for the first few months of marriage. I actually ended up getting on birth control before our wedding because I didn't want to be on my period for the wedding. So I got on birth control, which was kind of like very much against what I believe in and stand by, but on the other hand, I was kind of desperate, so that was just the next option. So that's what I did. Got on birth control, and of course we used it as a preventative too. So about 3 months into the marriage, it was making me absolutely crazy, and not crazy in like a mentally crazy state kind of way. It was more just, I had loads of anxiety. I had chest pain from horrible indigestion, and because of the anxiety, I pretty much just thought I was dying all the time. I would get like panic attacks, like it was just insane. Yeah, and that was the mini pill. So Different story though, for a different time. But anyway, so I got off of birth control after we moved into my parents' house, about 3 months or so into that, maybe not even 3 months, it might have been less time than that. I took a pregnancy test because I was tracking my cycle, I was keeping up with my ovulation. We weren't trying, but we weren't preventing, so we were kind of like, you know, whatever happens, happens. We were in a financially stable enough position to be able to afford a child when we got established in our home. So I took a pregnancy test around October 28th. It was very, very faint. Over the next few days, I could kind of see it getting a little bit darker. So on October 31st, 1 year after we got engaged, I told Sean that I was pregnant after I took the digital test, and it said yes. And, you know, of course we were super excited. We were very much overjoyed. Unfortunately, a few days later, I started bleeding. So I did have a chemical pregnancy, or just an early miscarriage. So of course, all that joy gets kind of sucked out of you. It's not a very pleasant experience knowing that you're losing what could have been your first child. It was our first child. I don't want to like make light of the situation, because it was definitely a heavy situation, a heavy experience. But anyway, so I went through a lot of the grief that you would normally experience after a miscarriage. And I say normally, I don't know what that looks like for everyone else. For me, it was, of course, I was just upset. I was devastated. I was very down on myself. I thought I did something wrong. I kind of questioned God a little bit. There were a lot of different thoughts, feelings, and emotions that tied into that. And that is all, I will probably do a whole separate video on that, but that is all another reason why I'm here today, back on YouTube. But during this whole grief cycle and journey, I definitely learned to cling to God and trust God and just have faith in Him that this is all supposed to be for a bigger reason. And I know that people say, oh, well, everything happens for a reason, and that's not necessarily gonna make anything better. But when you have God to lean on and to trust through the deepest parts of the depths of just sorrow and pain and grief, it really helps tremendously, because you know that you have something solid that will always bring you joy in the midst of chaos and pain. So anyway, that's my little spiel on that. But I prayed a lot. I prayed that God would heal me. He would use my grief, my pain, and my frustration, confusion, just everything that I was feeling. I prayed that He would make every negative emotion into something positive for us and our future family and what we were trying to do with our lives. And I didn't know what that would look like at this point, but over time, I definitely developed a deeper passion into women's fitness and pre and postnatal exercise. I started kind of researching a little bit on that, and I took a mini course and just fell in love with pre and postnatal exercise. So I'm currently going through a course on that right now, but more about that in just a second. While all of this was going on, we started house hunting again. We found a house within a really good budget. It needed some work to be done. The floors needed to be redone. It needed to be repainted. There were holes in the wall. It was kind of a wreck, but it wasn't in horrible condition. So we ended up getting it, and that is the house that we are in now. And as you can see, please don't mind my messy kitchen, we still do not have a kitchen table, and there's just stuff everywhere. And y'all, we've been living here for a hot minute now, at least 6 months. We bought the house in December, and then in January, after we did the bulk of the renovations that needed to get done before we could move in, we moved in. So we moved in January, around the end of January. And then in February, I found out I was pregnant again. So we are currently pregnant and expecting our baby girl, Evelyn, who will be here November 6th. So we are 25 weeks. Let me see if I can give you a little bump date. 25 weeks right now. Little girl is absolutely insane, but she is very, very much loved and very cherished, and we are definitely super, super grateful for the opportunity to become parents and to be able to raise a beautiful baby girl, and we're really excited for her to get here. And I think the closer we get, the more real it becomes, and yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna be a mom. Oh my goodness, I totally forgot. After we moved into the house and the whole miscarriage thing happened, I started really thinking, especially after I got pregnant one time. I was like, okay, well, you know, I can get pregnant. If we're gonna have a family, then I need to start thinking about what our lives are gonna look like. And I really wanted to stay home with our kids. I wanted to stay home with our future children and homeschool if possible, and just be there for moments, you know, the little moments that not a lot of parents get to be there for anymore. Honestly, it's kind of sad because I see a lot of parents working double time and they don't have time to actually enjoy time with their kids. So I wanted to be that mom for my kids, and how else was I supposed to do that while also financially supporting my family? I ended up looking at different job opportunities online for personal training. I got an interview with a really, really good company. I'm gonna leave names out, but they were a really good company. It seemed almost too good to be true. And I actually found out I was pregnant within like the first week of interviewing with this company, I believe. So I went through like this one interview round, moved on to the next. There were like 5 different interview levels. I made it all the way to the end just for them to tell me that I didn't get the job. And I had to email them like 3 times, so. But yeah, didn't get the job, so I felt like I was at a huge loss. And I knew I wasn't, of course. I definitely learned to heavily rely on God, but at the same time, when you have these plans and you find out you're pregnant and you really want this to work for your future and your family, and you almost feel like now you're on a time limit because you're about to have a baby, it felt like a lot. I kind of felt stuck. Not that my job at the time wasn't serving, well, I guess I can say it wasn't serving me the purpose I wanted it to. It wasn't serving me in a way that was gonna be fit for my family. And I didn't know what to do from that. So I started interviewing with different jobs just around the city that I live in, because I worked 30 minutes from home, so it's a 30-minute drive there, 30-minute drive back. So I told myself if I couldn't get this job, if I couldn't work fully from home, then I'm gonna work as close to home as possible. So I interviewed for a few different jobs. I ended up basically getting handed one job, and I liked the atmosphere, honestly. The atmosphere was great, the people were nice, everything was really nice. There wasn't any maternity leave or benefits, which was kind of, you know, the down point of that one, but they basically handed it to me. I called my husband and talked to him about it, told him that I got the job, but he knew that I didn't sound very thrilled about it, so he asked me why I didn't sound happy, and I told him that it just didn't quite feel right. I wasn't 100% sure. I'm the kind of person who doesn't just jump into things if I'm not 100% sure. I'm like an all in or all out person. I need to know 100% that that's what I'm gonna do. I'm very stubborn when it comes to that kind of thing. So I prayed on it a little bit. I went to work later that day and I decided just to experiment a little bit, and I posted just a little Facebook post on a private group, and I ended up receiving in 24 hours about 100 messages for personal training. In 24 hours, I started a business and got like my first maybe 5 to 10 clients, and then posted one more time, got maybe 50 more messages, and then got, you know, my next 10 or however many it was. Not all of them stuck, but it gave me the foundation and reassurance that this was definitely the path that God had laid out for me, and it was so overwhelming. I remember when I first posted on Facebook and started to get responses coming in within the first 10 minutes, I called Sean and I told him, I'm pretty sure God is answering all the questions to all my prayers and laying out the path for me, because there is no way I'd be doing what I'm doing now by myself without God. Seriously, it's definitely crazy still for me to think about, because it feels like it was so long ago, but every time I think about it, it kind of brings me back to why I do what I do, and I can just see everything laid out so clearly, from getting married to moving around, having the miscarriage, developing new passions for health and fitness, going through all these trials and errors. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, my dog just threw up mid-video, so I don't even remember where I was. Who even knows? If I missed something, I will go back and insert it. But to make a long story short, to summarize, yeah, we've been gone for a while. We have definitely been in some highs and lows. We have been through a lot in a short amount of time, but I am happy to say that I'm finally doing what I love on my own terms, and it is amazing, and I can't wait for this baby girl to get here. And I'm blessed to be able to say that I can be able to financially support my family while staying at home and raising my kids and potentially homeschooling, and I'm excited to make more videos around all that stuff. So while this channel was set up previously to be very fitness based, it's still going to be kind of fitness based, because of course that is what I'm passionate about, that's what I do. But now that we're expecting our little girl, this channel will definitely be a little bit more of a mixture of fitness, family, my faith, food, baby stuff, motherhood, what I'm doing to stay healthy in the midst of pregnancy, and yeah, I'm very excited to get into all this stuff. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos. I would love for you to follow along in this new journey with us. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.